Hello and welcome to another review of a film that I've seen on Mubi. This time I'm reviewing The Worst Person in the World, directed by Joachim. Now this film didn't come out so long ago, and I can remember the reviews pretty much being unanimous in praising this film, and I was quite looking forward to seeing this film. It had been on my list for a little while. Unfortunately, I was slightly underwhelmed. Maybe it's that problem of when all the reviews are good and you go with a high expectation that you're actually setting the film up in an unfair way. But I am not convinced that this is a great film. It's not terrible and it is watchable, but yeah, I just didn't enjoy it as much as I was expecting. The film is kind of split into 12 parts, or 14 parts, because it's also got a prologue and an epilogue. And I'm not sure about this. This already kind of slightly turns me off because there's something that feels a little bit cliched, a little bit almost commercial about it. I mean, it made me think of the TV series Friends, the way that every episode is titled The One With This and The One With That. It was almost like the part of the film where we look at this. And I think that splitting the film into chapters and even using titles can work, but I think it's easy to get it wrong. And for me, I found this slightly irritating rather than actually helping in my enjoyment of the film. The film is about this woman, Julie, who's a 30-something person, and it's a coming-of-age movie. She still hasn't grown up. She still hasn't found her place in life. She still hasn't decided what she wants to do or who she wants to be with. And you know, often these coming-of-age films are about teenagers, but this is extending the kind of coming-of-age theme into the 30-something. I mean, it kind of catalogues well and with some humour the difficulties of living and conforming in a society. And, you know, for a teenager, that's kind of normal as you find your place in the world. But I think that the issue this film particularly addresses is, you know, as we're aging and still not fitting in, the concerns around that. And I can have some identification with that. I think that's an interesting topic. I think Julie, the main character, is an interesting character and she has an authenticity. But you know, because she doesn't know what she wants and doesn't fit in and kind of flits between jobs, flits between studies, flits between different relationships, it would be easier to see her as superficial. But I think the film handles that quite well, that she's not superficial. I think there is an authenticity to her, and I think she's being more authentic than all the people who apparently have grown up and are conforming. So that, you know, the film's well constructed like that. There is that fun sequence that, as I say, there is humour in this film, and there is a fun sequence where where she meets someone and they're both in other relationships and they decide they don't want to be unfaithful, but they kind of test the boundaries of what you can do, of how far you can go without it being considered cheating. So this includes watching each other go to the toilet, and it's kind of a fun, humorous scene. I kind of enjoyed it. The cinematography is kind of noticeable because the camera moves a lot. Sometimes it's very close to our characters. I mean, this is a really people-based film. and sometimes the camera is very close to the characters, and sometimes it's far, and it does move a lot between the two. I'm not convinced of what purpose that serves in the context of the type of film this is, but that's how it is. There is a scene that is interesting from a cinematography point of view, where everything slows down, everything stops, and Julie runs through the streets of Oslo, where everything is frozen. I think, technically this is an interesting scene to look at, but I just felt it was really cliched. It's like she's fallen in love with someone, and the world stops as she runs to find the person that she's fallen in love with, and I just found that too cliched, and enjoyable enough to watch, but very different than the other film I've seen by him. Now, I hadn't realised until after the film that he also made the film Thelma. That's the only other film I've seen by Trier. And I really enjoyed Thelma. Thelma was mysterious, it was edgy. It was a big contrast to this film. I mean, we do, in The Worst Person in the World, we do have the hallucination film where Julie takes mushrooms, and this scene, the hallucination, has a much darker tone. But I didn't really feel like it fitted in. The rest of the film is kind of operating at a relatively superficial, that's maybe too harsh, but the rest of the film is not dark and mysterious, and it just doesn't really fit in. I mean, overall, I'd say I cared enough about Julie. There was no problem in finishing the film, but it is all at a bit of a superficial level. It's all kind of mainstream rather than art house, and I don't really mean that as a compliment. Next time I'm reviewing The White Building, directed by Kavich Niang. See you next time.